Hello and welcome to Tim Talk. Today I'll be talking about JK Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter books and a brilliant businesswoman. Now don't forget to check out the vocabulary lists below, and I do hope you enjoy today's talk.
Tim Talk.
Hello, I'm sure you know this name. The Harry Potter books set records for the fastest selling books in history and have been translated into 65 different languages. But did you know Harry Potter is also a brand worth over $15 billion. Now the writer of the Harry Potter books is JK Rowling. But do you know what the JK stands for? It's Joanne Kathleen Rowling. How much do you know about her? Let's take a look together at the life of JK Rowling. Now, Joanne Kathleen Rowling was born in 1965 in Gloucestershire in England. Her mother was a scientist and her father was an engineer, and they met at King's Cross Station in London. And fans of the books will know that JK Rowling often includes King's Cross Station in her books as the gateway to the wizarding world. Now, JK Rowling had an unhappy childhood because her mother was often sick with a nervous disease called multiple sclerosis, and she often argued with her father. So some people think that the character of Hermione Granger is based on the childhood of JK Rowling herself. JK Rowling as a teenager was a fan of punk music, and she liked to dress up in black like her idol Susie Sue. She was a student at the University of Exeter where she studied French, and after she graduated she joined Amnesty International, a human rights organisation. She travelled a lot by train all over the UK, and in 1990, while on a particularly boring train journey to Manchester, she had an idea for a book. And that idea was the story of a boy who enrolls in a school of wizardry. As soon as she got home, she wrote this idea down. Now, the next few years were very unhappy ones for JK Rowling. Her mother died of the disease multiple sclerosis. She went to teach English in Portugal and fell in love with a Portuguese man, and they married. But a few years later, she got divorced from her Portuguese husband. So after her divorce, she was very unhappy. And this was a very depressing time for her. She even considered committing suicide. Eventually, she moved to Scotland, where she claimed unemployment benefit because she didn't have a job. Every day she would go to a cafe in Edinburgh called the Elephant House, where she would sit in a warm place and write her story of Harry Potter, while her baby slept next to her. In 1995, JK Rowling completed the manuscript to her first book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. She was very keen to get the book published, so she submitted it to 12 publishing companies, but they all rejected it. Only one publishing company accepted it, and the boss of Bloomsbury Publishing said, "Okay, JK Rowling, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give the first chapter of your book to my daughter tonight. If she likes it, I will publish your book." So that evening, the boss of Bloomsbury Publishing gave the first chapter to his daughter to read. The next morning, he knocked on her door and he said, "Did you like the first chapter?" And his daughter opened the door and said, "Daddy, Daddy, I love it, give me chapter 2. And then he knew it was going to be a big success. So he replied to JK Rowling and said, "My daughter loves it. I'm going to publish your book." Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone won 3 Children's Book Awards. It was incredibly successful, not only in the UK, but also in the USA, where it was the best-selling book for 2 years. Now, JK Rowling followed up the success with 3 more books, all of which broke sales records in the UK and USA. Now the world had Harry Potter fever, and Children and parents would line up at midnight for the latest launch of a new Harry Potter book. Every summer, a new Potter book would be released, to the delight of kids everywhere. Between 2003 and 2006, 3 more Potter books were released. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows sold 11 million copies on its first day of release in the UK and USA. Now let's have a look at how much money JK Rowling made between 2010 and 2018. She had a particularly good year in 2016 where she made 95 million US dollars. So just how does JK Rowling make so much money? Well, she's very careful to control what she creates. She keeps tight control of the licensing rights to her products, whether that's the books, the movies, clothes, merchandising, whatever. So she shares in all the profits. So let's look at the process. First, she has the idea. Then she patents the idea, so it's now her intellectual property. She will protect that intellectual property very carefully by using the law. So if you steal her ideas, she's going to sue you. She controls the licensing to her products very carefully, so she shares in all the profits. From her first book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, JK Rowling made money from the following sources: from the book royalties, from the movie rights, from the TV rights, from the licensing fee. All this made her a very cool $356.5 million US dollars. Now, the Harry Potter books made a total of 7.7 billion US dollars, of which it's believed she took a 15% share, which would have made her 1.15 billion US dollars, plus all the profits from the Harry Potter movies, which made a total of $650 million, of which it's believed she took a 10% share. In 2011, JK Rowling created her own website called Pottermore, where she gets to sell Harry Potter products online. And because she created the website herself, she gets to keep all the profits herself. She also takes a share of the profits from the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, an amusement park in Florida. She's also well known to keep creative control of many projects. For example, during filming of the Harry Potter film series, she insisted on using British actors and actresses. The American producers were a little bit worried about this, but it turned out that the American audiences absolutely loved hearing British accents in the movies. JK Rowling also produced the movie Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Now, JK Rowling is one of the wealthiest women in the world, but she's also very generous and has donated a lot of money to charity. Because her mother died of the disease multiple sclerosis, in 2010 she donated £10 million to establish the Anne Rowling Neurology Clinic, which she named after her mother. So, how did JK Rowling change the world? Well, firstly, she created the character of Harry Potter, a character that is loved by children all over the world. Secondly, she kept control of everything she created. She showed other female entrepreneurs how they can keep control of the ownership of copyright to their work. Thirdly, she was the first writer to become a billionaire. She showed that writers can become very, very rich, even billionaires, just through the power of their imagination. So let's share JK Rowling's 3 secrets for success. Number 1, she said, don't fear rejection. Even though her original Harry Potter story was rejected by 12 publishing houses, she persisted until her story was published and became a huge success around the world. Number 2, she said, never give up creating. She's never given up creating, and in fact, she's still writing stories today. Number 3, she said, keep control of your creative work. And she was always careful to keep control of the rights to her creative work. So, Let's finish by looking at a quote from JK Rowling herself. She said, "You control your own life. Your own will is extremely powerful." Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you again for another Tim Talk.